Welcome. It is 6 p.m. on January the 11th, the very first meeting of a brand new year, 2021. And I'm sure each and every person on this council and those listening are happy to see a different number when it rolls up on the year. Here's to a better year for everyone. Tonight's meeting is being held virtually to be very cautious for council members and staff due to an accelerated number of COVID cases and potential exposures. Our vaccine distribution in the state of South Carolina has begun, and hopefully we will soon be able to do all of our meetings again in person. Council chambers is not a very large space, but tonight, we have been able to use it several times with 6 feet distancing for each of our members and our staff. But this evening, we felt that it was important to do a virtual meeting, and I want to compliment the staff and all employees of the town for continuing since early March of 2020 to do the business of the town without interruption. I know that we've been scattered and we're doing our very best to meet everyone's needs and our commitments as a town. And I'm very, very proud of each and every staff member, employee, and council member. You have absolutely been amazing at continuing our work as if nothing were going on, much less a year like 2020 and including a pandemic. So thanks to everyone. We were aware that during our council meetings, we do have an opportunity for public comment. We have made it possible for anyone that wants to make public comment to come to town hall. They will be the only person in front of a camera. We will not be there, but we will hear that comment, and we will do everything possible to continue to do that. We've had one person that was a little bit unhappy about that, but we are not always going to know in advance when we can do an in-person meeting and when we must revert to a virtual meeting. So we feel like it's in the best interest of everyone within our community to offer the service of having someone at town hall able to put anyone that would like to speak on camera for all of us to hear. We certainly like it better when we can see people in person before us, and we are struggling to not have that eye-to-eye meeting opportunity. But these are difficult times, and we're doing all that we can. So, Davey, thank you for making arrangements to have a safe place for anyone that needs to speak before us. With that, we're going to try. I don't know how this will work. It hasn't been great when we all do the Pledge of Allegiance collectively, but we'll try. And then we'll have an invocation and begin our meeting. So, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With that, Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve the wonderful community that you've provided for us to live in. Help us to do the business of the town fairly, openly, and with justice for all. Please move in our hearts to help us to be kind in our communications with one another and to have the type of conversations that are productive for all. I thank you. In his name we pray. Amen. Council members, and for the public, we have Council Member Larry Huntley, Council Member Lisa Cook, Council Member Jamie Shirey, Council Member Chris Moody will be with us. He's having an iPad issue. He'll be joining us in just a few minutes. We have Council Member Ronnie Helms with us this evening, and Trudy Heemsall will be unable to join us. We have Davey, our town manager, Davey Broom, and Chris Pettit on the line, our assistant town manager, and Jacana Hester, our events coordinator. So thank you all for joining us this evening. Before you have been provided before you minutes of the December 14th, 2020 Town Council meeting. Do we have any changes, additions, or deletions?
I move for approval.
Okay, I have a motion for approval from Larry Huntley,
Second.
and I have a second from Jamie Shirey. Lisa, do you have any changes or deletions?
No, I vote to approve.
Thank you. Jamie, do you vote to approve?
Vote to approve.
Larry?
Vote to approve.
Has Chris Moody joined us?
Yes, approve.
Thank you. Ronnie Helms? Okay, and I also approve. So thank you so much. We appreciate, Virginia, the work that you do to get our minutes before us. Our next segment is a public comment segment pursuant to Section 2-46 of the Code of Ordinances for the Town of Fort Mill. Any citizen of the town may appear before council for the purpose of providing public comments on any municipal matter except personnel matters. Those who wish to speak must sign in outside of council chambers prior to the start of the meeting. To maintain social distancing, citizens will only be allowed into council chambers one at a time to give their comments, and we will only have one staff member to work that virtual opportunity. Davey, do we have anyone?
No, Mayor, no one signed up tonight.
All right, thank you very much. We have no presentations and we have no old business items, so we'll move into new business item number 1. An emergency ordinance extending prior temporary measures for town council and other appointed board and commission members to participate in meetings electronically during the COVID-19 emergency. This item is led by Chris Pettit. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve.
I have a motion by Lisa Cook to approve
Second.
and a second by Jamie Shirey. Thank you. Chris?
Approve.
Mayor,
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that.
Mayor, this is just a continuation of what we've done in the past. This allows us for 60 additional days to continue operating with some or all virtual meetings with council and our other boards and commissions. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Okay, so that's 60 days that allow us the option. And again, for the public, we only do this when we feel that there is a demonstrated need for us to have distance and continue to do the business of the town. Lisa, I see your microphone on. Do you have a comment?
Yeah, just questioning, Chris, when that 60-day date would be for it to run out? Did you calculate that?
Yes, it would run through March 26th.
Okay, perfect. And then the other question I have, I just wondered if the municipal association has provided any guidance of this being a long-term option. I know previous to COVID, it was something that we weren't allowed to do at all. Any discussion of this being a long-term option once we're out of COVID? I mean, to Mayor's point earlier, we would all like to meet in person as much as possible, but there are times where that's not possible. So, you know, it would still give us an option to attend, even when not in person. So just kind of curious.
It I think could be an option. It may require a larger overhaul of a variety of different ordinances and procedures. It's certainly not something that I'll say state law and things like that were written to really talk about, because most state law probably was in existence prior to Zoom and GoToMeeting and things of that nature. So it's something we can look at, but the emergency ordinance does meet all the needs that we currently have from that perspective. The only downfall is you do have to reconsider it every 60 days. But there is some flexibility in that because unfortunately with COVID, things in 60-day period change quite a bit. So we can though continue to view that and see if there may be a long-term option for that in the future though. Certainly.
Thank you. Just kind of wondering what's being said by others. So I appreciate it.
Lisa, to your point, I have listened to many conference calls with agencies throughout the state, and everyone seems to, we refer to it as an option currently. I think we can certainly put that on, a desk somewhere to have that discussion, but I think right now, as long as we're in COVID, it'll remain an emergency ordinance and will have to be reinstituted each time that it lags. Okay, you've got that down. We have a motion to approve new business item and a second. Larry Huntley, how do you vote?
Vote to approve.
Lisa, how do you vote?
Vote to approve.
Jamie Shirey,
Vote to approve.
Chris Moody,
Vote to approve.
Ronnie Helms,
Approve.
and I also vote to approve. Thank you very much. New business item number 2, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances for the Town of Fort Mill, Chapter 4, Article 1, Section 4-4, so as to rename the section of swine, chickens, and other fowl to update the regulations relating to the keeping of swine in the Town of Fort Mill. Again, our lead on this is Chris Pettit. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to accept.
I have a motion from Jamie Shirey.
Second.
And I have a second from Chris Moody. Mr. Pettit?
Yes, Mayor. This is following up from discussions we had at Council's last meeting. This ordinance would provide a little more detail as to, or clarity as to what animals it relates to. But following up from Council's last meeting, this would only apply to any new animals, and it would not apply to Ruby. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Thank you. We've had much discussion in regards to this item. Are there any questions or any adjustments that anyone would like to make? Hearing none. Mr. Huntley, how do you vote?
I vote to approve.
Thank you. Lisa, how do you vote?
Vote to approve.
Jamie?
Vote to approve.
Chris Moody?
Vote to approve.
Ronnie Helms?
Vote to approve.
And I also vote to approve. Thank you so much for the hard work and diligence on this particular item. We will move into the information and discussion portion of our meeting. The first item is discussion 1, our MLK Call to Service Day. Jacana Hester will lead us through that. Jacana?
Okay. Chris has, there's the flyer for it. The town is always looking for ways to foster community pride and engagement, and we wanted to create an event that helps residents serve their community while also honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy. That's why we created the MLK Call to Service event. Last year, we held MLK Call to Service Week, and we collected donations for area organizations each day leading up to Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Due to COVID guidelines continuing, we have decided to just have a one-day event this year to keep our staff and community safe. On Monday, January the 18th, we are asking our community to donate items for these organizations. The drop-off location will be the Fort Mill Town Hall at 200 Tom Hall Street from 8 a.m. to noon. And to keep everyone safe, we ask residents to just drop off their items outside the front doors of Town Hall, and then town staff will collect them from the outside and bring them inside Town Hall. The purpose of this day is based on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Famously saying, "Everybody can be great because everybody can serve." The town wanted to provide a way for the Fort Mill community to serve others by donating needed items for these local organizations. And the organizations who are participating and the types of items they are requesting are the Adult Enrichment Center. They need gift cards to Lowe's or Walmart for supplies that they are creating a special project room for their clients with dementia. The Bethel Men's Shelter needs boxers size medium and large, and sweatshirts size medium, large, and extra large. Classroom Ready needs over-the-ear headphones or earbuds with jacks, not wireless. The Fort Mill Care Center needs toilet paper and paper towels. Historic Paradise Foundation needs STEM kits and gift cards to Walmart or Amazon to buy supplies for the Historic Paradise Foundation Learning Center. Palmetto Women's Center needs diapers size 1 and larger and baby wipes. York County Council on Aging needs washing detergent, dishwashing liquid, and blankets to distribute to the Fort Mill residents. We have a very giving and service-minded community, and we know they will want to help support the importance of this day to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by serving these organizations. And we just want to thank them in advance for what they're going to do. And again, the drop-off location is the Fort Mill Town Hall on Monday, January 18th from 8 a.m. to noon. And all the information can be found on our town website, www.fortmillsc.gov, and on our town social media.
Jacana, I have one question. I see that there is a request for Lowe's and Walmart gift cards for the Adult Enrichment Center. I also see a request for Walmart gift cards for the Historic Paradise Foundation. Will staff divide, or do folks that intend to make a contribution or donation, do they need to write on it or provide something as to which of these they would like to support? You kind of unmute yourself.
Sorry. We are going to have boxes sitting outside of Town Hall as well, marked for each organization, so people can place the items in those boxes. So it'll help differentiate which organization they're going to. But if they would like to write them on the gift cards as well, that would be very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Lisa, do you have a question?
Yes, is there a way to give electronically with any of these? So if we wanted to order online and have it shipped to a location, is there information on the website for that?
We have not arranged for that. We're just asking everyone to bring everything to the Fort Mill Town Hall. And then we are going to distribute it to the various organizations.
And Lisa, I'm sure each one of these organizations has some link, that if you wanted to participate by sending the Amazon gift cards, the good example, you can do that online. I feel certain, Jacana, we might want to include a website or an email address for each of these on our website, and that would at least accommodate, I think, what Lisa's asking.
Okay, yes, we can do that.
Thank you. Lisa, does that satisfy your concern?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Jamie? Larry?
Yep,
Thank you,
that's a great
Scotty.
idea.
I know that
I would think if Dr. Martin Luther King were looking down at this, at what we're doing, I would think he would smile.
Well, I certainly think this particular type of event has borne great giving within our community, and I'm very proud and grateful for the effort to make sure that we're putting into action our desire to help others. So thank you so much, Jacana. I appreciate you and all the staff that work on this.
Thank you.
Information and discussion item number 2, Detective Mike Doty Memorial Run. Jacana, you're also the presenter for that.
Keystone Substance Abuse Services has submitted an application for the Detective Mike Doty Memorial Run. It's a fun run, 5K and 10K, to be held on Saturday, May 15th, 2021. The purpose of this event, it honors Detective Mike Doty, who was killed in the line of duty with the York County Sheriff's Office. Detective Doty was an alcohol enforcement team officer that worked with Keystone Substance Abuse Services to prevent the sales of underage drinking in our community. He was also a strong advocate against the opioid epidemic, and he was scheduled to speak at Keystone's Opioid Summit that was scheduled a few days after his death. The run is held to uphold his legacy and dedication to making a difference around substance use in our community. The money raised goes to Keystone Substance Abuse Services, whose mission is to improve the quality of life for individuals and families by educating, treating, and providing support for those impacted by substance abuse. The location of the event is Walter Elijah Park, 345 North White Street in Fort Mill. The run start time is 8 a.m. and the run end time is 1 p.m. And they would like to set up at 6 a.m. and cleanup times at 3 p.m. on that Saturday. And next, we have the route map. Our police department and recreation department have worked together on this route for them. And the start and finish line will be in Walter Elijah Park. And then those are the listed streets that the runners will go down. And then the 10K runners will actually do the route twice to make it 10K. And then they have submitted the COVID-19 protocols for Detective Mike Doty Memorial Run that they are going to be asking everyone to do. And then the general guidelines are masks are required for everyone attending the event. Keystone will rent hand washing stations to be placed outside the bathrooms for anyone to use. Hand sanitizer will be available at various locations. All participants and volunteers will be asked to sign a COVID waiver. No spectators will be allowed at the event to avoid overcrowding. Any vendors at the event will be spread out across Walter Elijah Park, 25 feet apart. The start and finish location will be at different areas to prevent congregating. And the race is going to implement open start times. And that means that the runners can start anytime between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. or staggered heats every 15 minutes. A new group of 50 runners would start. And then they're working through what is the most COVID friendly. And it may be a combination of those different options. There's not going to be an award ceremony to avoid large gatherings, and winners will be notified to pick up their award at a separate date and location. And then they're asking their staff and volunteers to wear masks, and any staff or volunteers will also be required to wear gloves if handling any items at the race, such as registration, packet pickup, checking temperatures, finishers bags, etc. All staff and volunteers will have their temperature check upon arrival, and anyone that has 100.4 degree or higher reading will be asked to go home. Runners are being required to wear masks at all times except while running. The pre-race runners will be emailed COVID screening questions and protocols. All runners will have their temperature checked during packet pickup, and anyone that has that 100.4 degree or higher reading will be asked to go home. Runners will register for a start time. Runners are allowed to start anytime during the 1 hour slot. Upon finishing, runners will receive a prepackaged finisher bag that will include post-game snack, drink, finisher medal, and other resources. And then some other details that they listed is that they will have registration fees and sponsorships, no alcohol, no fireworks. They will provide their own tents. They will have sound with a DJ and a generator for the DJ, no stages. They will have community organizations as vendors, 10 to 15 signs along the route, and they will provide porta-johns. They will need barricades, and they are working on a safety plan with EMS, and the event will occur rain or shine. So those are all the details about the run.
Well, it appears there've been some comprehensive planning that has taken place prior to this. Does anyone see anything that we need to ask a question in regards to?
Do we know if any other communities are having runs yet in South Carolina particularly?
The Greenway has held some, and they've done that same thing with the staggered start times so that runners are not, starting all at the same time to reduce the numbers.
Thank you. And do you know, if I didn't catch it, those staggered start times will be kind of like reservations for it so that they can spread it out?
It did say on one of the lists that when you register, you'll be registering for a specific hour window.
Great.
Right.
Looking forward to it.
That means you can lap me twice when you do the 10K. I do one.
Probably it is my birthday weekend, and I think it'll be Mother's Day. So that can be our Mother's Day, take care of ourselves. So
There you
for a
go.
great cause and a great man.
It is. It is. Jacana, thank you so much. There's so much work that goes into a normal event, much less one during a pandemic. So thank you so very much for all the effort that you put into this.
Thank y'all.
All right. Davey, you're up next with recreational programs update.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, staff and town council members. Just wanted to give a brief update for a few minutes on our Parks and Recreation athletic programs. We only have one program going on at this time, and it is our winter season basketball. As you recall, due to COVID concerns and the sheer numbers that wanted participants that wanted to play, our staff has split this basketball season actually into two separate seasons to lower those numbers. Season one is currently in process, and it was in process all the way through December. I forget, I don't recall the exact date, but due to COVID concerns and cases rising, we followed in conjunction with the local organizations and school districts to shut down our season a few days early. That was about 3 days worth of games prior to our 2-week layoff that we would offer during the holiday season anyway. That gave us a cool down period, if you will, to monitor COVID and see how we wanted to move forward and resume the season again on January 4th. Staff reached out again to these other entities prior to this January 4 time, and we've determined that everyone, again, the local YMCAs, other local municipalities, as well as school districts, resumed their winter seasons after the holiday break. So we felt like we could do the same thing and still offer all of the COVID safety guidelines and keep our participants and their families as safe as possible during this remainder of season one, and then review going into season two. But based on that, we did resume our season January 4th. We've not received any negative comments or feedback from our participants or families that we're aware of. Everyone seems happy that the season resumed and they're back to playing basketball. Again, this season we still have a couple of weeks left in it, and then we will be looking to move into our second season of basketball coming up in February. And with that, if I'll be happy to, or Brown, I think Brown's on the call, we'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions in regards? Lisa?
Just a statement more than anything. I've got one of my children is playing in this season right now, and it has been working very well. The flow in between, in and out of games, everybody sits in their cars and waits for the game prior to exit the gym. Then at that time, the players and parents go in to watch. All of the parents have been very good from the games I've seen. Social distancing, everybody's wearing masks like they should. All the players getting their temperatures checked. So I think it has been very well received, not only by the participants, but also the fans that are there to watch and cheer them on. So congratulations to staff for making this work in a different time, but I appreciate the opportunity for our youth to be able to participate in these activities and for us to figure out a way to do so safely. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have comments? All right, seeing none, Davey, we'll move into discussion item number 4, capital projects updates.
Thank you, Mayor. Back in our December 14th meeting, I provided council an update on our capital projects. There has been some updates to a couple of the projects, and I just wanted to make council aware of those updates tonight. I will begin with the Walter Y. Elisha Park upgrades. It is our largest project that's currently under construction. And with capital project, there are smaller projects within that upgrade. They include the amphitheater, the restrooms in Walter Y. Elisha Park, one in Walter Y. Elisha Park and another in Calhoun Soccer Field. The parking lots, adult swings, and then we have various lighting around the park as well. I'll begin with the amphitheater. As of the last report, I was looking for updated amounts on the project. This particular amphitheater site, we've discussed it in the past. The actual footprint of the amphitheater site had some soil conditions along with debris that has slowed the process or slowed the amphitheater construction itself. Some of those, I would say, roadblocks that we've run into again include there was an 8-inch water main that was on the site that had not previously shown up on any of the maps that the town owned, and which had to be relocated out of the actual footprint of the amphitheater itself. Based on the removal of that water line, it kind of triggered some domino effect and affected some of a good bit of the stormwater lines had to be rerouted, as well as sewer lines, sanitary sewer lines that were on this site as well. To date, where we stand with the amphitheater site, all of the water and sewer and stormwater has been remedied. But based on the debris that was in the site itself, just for the footprint of the amphitheater, our geotechnical engineers requested to go in and do a second study for what they call piles. And piles is basically footings, if you will, for the amphitheater site. The original request suggested or recommended 15-foot piles to be driven underneath that footprint site to sustain the weight of the amphitheater. But due to the debris that it's already been associated with this site, the new study revealed that there is more backfill area than previously thought, and they have recommended, rather than 15-foot pilings, a combination of 16-foot pilings and 30-foot pilings. This geotech report was just recently received. I did not have an update back in December, but we've met with those engineers and our engineer for this project. And we are still trying to develop the actual plan for that site. We will be moving forward with these new pilings, but due to that has increased the cost of the project, and I'll go into that in a little bit detail a little bit later. But overall, the project completion date hasn't changed a whole lot. Once we can get above ground, things should start moving a little more easier and quickly. But the projected completion date of the amphitheater itself is still August 2021. If anyone has been on the site recently, you may have noticed that the restrooms are coming along fairly well. I've got some photos here of the restroom in this site is the one in the Walter Y. Elisha Park. It is the larger of the two restrooms. We are basically down to the roofing and then the interior updates with the paint and all of that. So it is very close to completion. We're very excited about this. This is going to be a huge benefit to the park, and once it's completed, it will be open to the public. So we won't have to wait to the end of the overall project. All of our citizens and visitors alike will be able to utilize and enjoy these restrooms immediately upon completion and the inspection process that we would go through to accept ownership of both restrooms. The next restroom photo we have is of the Calhoun Park soccer field. Again, we're very close to completion on it. As you can see, the dormer, I met with our engineers and the construction manager over the color of the dormer and the paint scheme. So we're very close to completion on this one as well. For both restrooms, they are still projected to be completed early February of 2021. So we're just weeks away from having both of those up and available to be utilized. I'll move on to, and I'm gonna do it in alphabetical order, even though I spoke on parking lot B last month. Parking lot A is the new parking lot along Ardrey Street. It's the one that if you drive by there, you'll notice the fencing up along Ardrey Street. This is going to be slanted parking along Ardrey. The geotech engineer has done their most recent study on this site, and they provided us a report, and we're in the process of reviewing that report and moving forward with this parking lot. It should be under construction very soon. Based on the weather conditions, we have not been given a very good timeline on the completion of this particular parking lot, but I included the overall project completion date of August of 2021. We know for a fact it'll be completed prior to that. I just don't have an update at this time. As that projected date becomes more clear, I'll provide that in future updates. Parking lot B is the lot that I spoke on last week. It is the one at the top of the hill in the rear of the park along Looms Way. It is open at this time. It's completed. It's been inspected by staff. We have not officially taken over. There's a couple of minor details to be added to that parking lot, but it is open and is being used by the public. And it is again, it'll be a huge benefit on that side of the park. Parking lot C is a new parking lot. If you drive down Ardrey Street, when you get to the substation, which is the entrance to the lower parking lot, at the very top of the hill, when you pull in to go down to the parking lot. On the left it was just a gravel, grassed over lot before. That's actually going to be a parking lot C. It's been graded out. During the grading, we found an active stormwater pipe that was not shown on any maps. So true to form so far with this project, we've found pipes everywhere. And so we are in the process of addressing and coming up with a plan on how to address that pipe in this parking lot. So at this time, I do not have a completion date for it, but I will provide future updates on that parking lot. Also, the things that have come up recently that is a benefit to the park are the adult swings. If you've been by there, they're still under construction. I've provided photos of 2 different sites. As you can see, they're still under construction. Each post will have a base, a brick column base to it that's about 2 feet off of the ground. They will match the ones that are currently in Millstone Park. The photo to the right, you can see the caps actually on top of the post. That's the decorative caps. The one on the left has not received those caps yet, but they are all still under construction and should be completed in just a matter of a week or so. We're very excited about these. And again, I think they'll bring a huge benefit to all of our citizens and visitors that take advantage of Walter Y. Elisha Park. As you can see, the concrete pad has a walkway from the asphalt parking lot or asphalt parking walkway or asphalt walkway to the actual swing itself. So you can walk the parkway, get on a swing, and never step in mud. So that's a huge benefit. And we think that will work well. We're very excited about this. It's going to add beauty to the park. And if you have the opportunity to sit in any of the swings once they're completed, I think you will certainly enjoy the views. Just make sure you are exercising, walking around the loop prior to sitting down so that you can enjoy the time in the swing even more. Also, I just want to give a brief update. I met with the project engineer today, as well as the lighting company for the lighting in the around the park and in the parking lot, lower parking lot. They are putting together a plan and style for those lights. The original light that we were looking for is no longer available to us. The company that constructed those lights went out of business, and they no longer offer that light, but another company has taken over a similar style of light. It's very difficult to tell the difference in the two. We were just meeting on the style of head and type of light today, and I'll be providing you an update on that very soon on that lighting. So Mayor, it is the overall project is moving along pretty well in some areas. Again, the amphitheater's footprint itself has been slowed a little, but we do see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it will begin to start seeing things move above ground fairly soon. The overall the update for the overall project, everything that has been experienced in the ground during the time of the beginning of the construction. The project itself is over. It is over budget. Right now, it's to the tune of just under $186,000. The majority of that's based on the rerouting of the 8-inch water main and everything associated with that removal and rerouting of the water line, as well as hauling away all of the debris that they found as they were locating that water line and or sanitary stormwater lines as well. So it has, again, it's been a challenge for the contractor, but they've done a very good job with cleaning the site and getting it ready for getting the foundations ready so that we can start upwards with the construction. As we move through this project, staff will continue to look for cost savings wherever possible to offset some of the increased cost of the overall project. We're trying to stay on top of that, but at the end of the day, again, we want to make sure that we provide a very quality project that all of our citizens are very proud of. So we're excited about this. We're probably right in the middle of all of the construction, but we do see some happy times coming ahead, especially with the availability of the restrooms, the adult swings, and the parking lots as they come online in the very near future. With that, that completes my update on the Walter While Elisha Park. I'll be glad to take any questions you may have, and then we can move on to the other projects.
I would just like to say that I couldn't be any happier with the design and the look of the restrooms. For those of us that grew up here when the mill was there and recognize a very simple but stately style, I am very happy with the result. I think it is a great benefit to our community and very lovingly decided upon to look like it fits the location. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to briefly comment on that. I will say that we had some help with that overall design from our good friends at the Clear Springs Company. That was, again, the Springs Industries spring-made mill here in Fort Mill. So they provided feedback on these, the design of the restrooms and the amphitheater itself. And, we're just very proud to be able to put forth a project that keeps the spirit of Springs Industries alive for this site. So
thank you. Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Will this construction problem at the park affect the Strawberry Festival?
Mr. Huntley, at this time, the Strawberry Festival, still based on COVID guidelines, and we're in the middle of or beginning to really get into the Strawberry Festival planning. It appears that our Strawberry Festival this year will look a little different than it did in years past. It'll look a little better, I think, than last year. Last year, was COVID hit early March, and it just shut down everything. So we were, Jacana Hester was able to put together a very good virtual program to keep the spirit alive for the Strawberry Festival itself. This year, there have been some opportunities, even with COVID restrictions that we have right now, to still promote and put on some of the smaller events that we typically lead up to the overall weekend event. Still think we can do those events safely. Jacana will be bringing to council the plan for the Strawberry Festival at our next meeting in January, or our second meeting in January, because we are still in the process of determining what we can do safely. We're excited that we're going to be able to do a little more than we did last year, but it does not appear that we're going to be able to bring in several thousand people to one site at this time.
Thank you.
Further questions in regards to Walter Elisha Park?
Yeah, I have a couple. They on the restrooms, are they going to be open certain hours, or are they going to be open 24 hours a day? Or?
That's a very good question. We think at the very beginning we will have them open certain hours of the day, and it would be when staff comes in, reports in the mornings, we'll have them unlocked. And then in the evenings or at dusk, we'll have them locked. So
Okay.
keep them at least safe until at least during the first several months.
All right. Second question, the parking along Audrey Street, the diagonal parking, is it going to be diagonal in from White Street?
Yes. So when
Okay.
you turn onto Ardrey from White Street, the angle parking will be on the right, and it'll angle so that when you can pull straight in or at an angle, and then you back out as an angle into Ardrey Street. That's per DHEC specifications, and I think that's the easiest method to utilize that area.
And it's not going to affect the trees that's along the parking area there?
It's not. We studied that prior to moving forward, and it should not affect those trees.
Yeah, I see where they graded out for it, so.
Yeah, that's a very good question, but you'll see some stretches of the parking will have multiple parking spaces. May have several in a row, and then you may run into a tree. It'll stay there, and then the next section may only have 2 parking spaces, and then the next dugout area will have more parking. We're not taking out an entire row. It's broken up to work around the vegetation that's there now currently.
Now, do you have a timeline on when they're going to shut that end of the street down?
We do not. The contractor is supposed to provide that to us a couple of weeks in advance. Right now, again, it's on hold until we get through this geotech study for that parking lot. But we anticipate it's only going to be a matter of weeks before we shut it down.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
Davey, will the restrooms have water fountains or at least bottle refill stations for people to use?
That is a very good question. Yes, they will have water stations, of course, until all of the COVID guidelines are relaxed. We will have to keep those closed off, but they do have water stations. And Ms. Cook, I think that the amphitheater restroom will have a water bottle station. One of the two, or maybe both, I can't recall. There was in discussions early in the process if we wanted that, and I think it stayed in there. I'll follow up on that and get back with you.
I would suggest it at both if at all possible, especially, since other one's more of a field, most people are bringing water bottles with them, so that'd be great.
That's a good point. Yes, ma'am. That's a very good point, because during, when the plans were being drawn up, it was pre-COVID, and water fountains were the standard. Water bottles are probably more safe method now. So we'll look into that and see if we can have them added if they're not already.
The one date on the calendar I'd like to know is when we get rid of the Porta Johns on White Street entrance. So glad for those to go away.
I will follow up on that. They should be going away pretty soon.
That sounds great. Thank you.
I'm going to add a comment that I hope everyone that watches or listens to this moving forward will pay specific attention to. That particular park was outfitted originally with some fantastic workout stations. You could go and read a board and walk and get your, maybe one of the original high intensity interval type training. They are right in the middle of town for free. However, they were not treated so lovingly. They were torn up on a regular basis and ultimately were removed. I sincerely hope, as those were gifts to the community. I really hope that people will think twice before they abuse the beauty and the effectiveness of adding value to that park, and will take care of them. So I challenge everyone to treat this park like what it is, our hometown, the heart of our town, and please take care of the things that we're adding to that park. Parent note over, move forward.
Thank you, Mayor. The next project update is on the Banks Athletic Park. There's been some updates to the timelines on this, and just want to provide council that. As for the December 14th meeting, I had sent you the colored plans and some overall or overhead shots of the overall park in 3D. The projected date of the bid advertisement at this point is January 18th of 2021. We would have it open and actually have the bid opening February the 18th. And we would anticipate having that bid opening, giving staff a couple of weeks to review the bids, we should be able to bring the project to town council during March meetings for your approval. We're very excited about this project. Mr. Shirey, you brought up a good point in our last meeting regarding the utility shed for the Parks and Recreation Department and its location. We looked into this with the architect and engineers, and unfortunately, the site every available inch of the usable site has been occupied for the overall park, and there's really no good viable location for this utility building. The building's going to be nice. It'll match the color scheme and the design of the rest of the facility. I will say it may be a benefit to have it invisible sight to the parking lot just for security purposes. But the rest of the project, again, is ready to go. Staff is very excited to get this underway. We're being told by the engineer and architect that the lead time for this project is 11 months. So that may be a very aggressive timeline. Again, it'll be based on the weather, but they feel like the overall project can be done and completed in an 11-month time period. I would anticipate that extending a little bit, whether it's a month or two, but we're very confident with what the scope of the project is, and staff's very excited to get this thing underway. Again, for anyone that did not listen to the December meeting, this park will house 4 ball fields. 2 ball fields are softball, baseball fields, and adult softball, that is. And then you have 2 fields for youth baseball, as well as some softball programs as well. So there will be 4 fields, a scoring tower, another restroom dedicated to 2 of the fields, along with the playground area that will house a basketball court, playground equipment, and then a very good size covered shelter. So with that, I will entertain any questions that you may have.
I'll ask,
Any
are we starting with construction the fields first? 11 months is a very quick timeline, but I realize the construction of the building itself may not take that long, but the fields definitely will take every bit of that. So are we starting in the field first and then building towards the parking lots?
Yes, ma'am. That appears to be they'll do the grading first, the overall grading, which would include the field space itself. So I would anticipate you see the fields and the parking lots probably going in first. And then once those are in, you'll see the walkways and the construction, the building starting to take shape after that. But yes, I think the fields would have to be at the very beginning of the project. As you brought up in the last meeting, you have to have some grow in time for the grass for that site. So.
And I'd like to think that one of the qualifying factors for anyone that would want to bid on this project would be that this isn't their first rodeo, that they certainly know what they're doing.
That's correct, Mayor, and that's that was one of the determining factors of that pretty much set the date for advertisement. Our engineers reached out to local contractors, and the feedback that we received was they would not be willing to or able to bid on any project of this size until mid-January timeframe. So it held us up about 30 days as far as advertising the overall project, but because of that, we feel like we're going to get a better pool of applicants to provide their bids.
Great. Great. Thank you. No further questions? Okay.
All right, thank you, Mayor. The next one on the list is the tennis courts at the YMCA. Staff just received last week the site survey from ESP Associates, and so we are in the process. Staff is reviewing that site survey, and we'll be meeting with ESP very soon to get a little more information on that site as well. So I expect to have a better update for you in our next on our second January meeting. But at this time, I don't have any updates from last month, except that we have received that site survey that we were expecting shortly after that meeting. Good news with our water and sewer capital projects. The water tank again is completed and online. And it has been for several months, but again, the weather has not been our friend lately. The only remaining issues or items to be completed there is landscaping, and as you can imagine, the weather has not been good for it, but it should be completed. We're speaking about any day now. When they get some good weather, they'll finish up that landscaping. That project will be completed altogether. We do have 2 sewer lift stations that are being renovated. A good portion of the cost for this renovation is being supplied through a Rural Infrastructure Authority grant that the town secured. We were excited about that. It provided us more flexibility to utilize or stretch our money further and do rather than being able to afford to renovate 1 sewer lift station, it afforded us the opportunity to do 2. So I'm happy to say that both lift stations are on schedule and on budget. They're both projected to be completed in the 3rd quarter of 2021. So everything seems to be moving slowly with them. Last but not least project that I'm speaking on is the wastewater treatment plant. You were provided a flyover. The last flyover that was captured for that site, we're not providing that tonight. There's been a lot of changes since then, but just wanted to give you an overhead shot of how it was looking in that site. We're very excited about it. Our utility director, Greg Rushing, informed me that this project is on schedule, and it is also on budget, and it is projected to be completed 1st quarter of 2022. We think that's going to be the early portion of 2022 of that quarter, but just to be safe, we're going to use that entire quarter. But we're very excited about that. And the upgrades to the wastewater treatment plants, again, to upgrade it to 4.5 million gallons per day capacity. And so he's given updates in the past, and we'll provide more updates as we move forward. That completes my report, Mayor. Again, I'll be glad to entertain any questions anyone has.
I appreciate the information and the care that you took in pulling that together for us. I know weather, guys, it seems to rain every 3rd day, and then the site at Walter Elijah has presented challenges in and of itself. But things are moving forward, and I'm greatly appreciative for the effort. Does anyone have any additional questions for Davey?
Have we heard anything about the progress at the intersection widening at White and Calhoun there? I saw that they did a little bit of paving there, but then of course, with the weather, it slowed it down. I didn't know we had an update from them yet.
I will be asking for that tomorrow. I have a call I need to make tomorrow into RFATS. It was projected to have been finished by the end of the year, and one of the distribution companies for a part of one of the mast arms, the lights, was slow and behind schedule, and that delayed it slightly, but it still was on schedule to complete by the end of the year. Paving has begun, but I do know that the weather has hindered that as well. So I'll send you guys an update as soon as I have it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No further questions? We have no executive session items this evening, and we'll just do a quick, anybody have anything that's good for the whole?
I would like to compliment whoever put this Zoom meeting together, the way we had the agenda at the bottom of the screen. That helped me out a lot, in the pictures along the way, like the Martin Luther King Share Day and the Doty run. That's real good.
I agree. I think tonight's meeting has gone a lot more smoothly than others we have held. So thank you so much, staff. With that, again, thank you all for continuing to do everything you can to stay healthy and to allow us to continue to do the job for our community that they expect and I'm sure appreciate. Here's to everyone being safe, and I look forward to hearing from you again in 2 weeks. Thanks so much. And with that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Chris Moody has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay. And with that, hope you all have a safe and good week. Thanks so much.